This lesson on academic writing skills is the language used for presenting point of view. We will begin with the introduction. Then, we move on to learn 3 types of language use. Finally, we will have some practices and quizzes to check out learning. Now, let's start from the introduction. There are 3 major types for presenting point of view. So first, why is it important to learn the language use for presenting point of view? As can be seen in the table, we can use the 3 types of markers with different purposes or functions. First, we can use view markers to present different points of view on an issue, and contrast markers can be used to indicate where the first view ends. Finally, assessment markers can be used to indicate the approval or disapproval of views. Now, let's move on to learn 3 types of language use: the view markers, contrast markers, and the assessment markers. First, to present views, we can use these verbs as view markers. Some verbs are more neutral, while some verbs contain the writer's judgment. For example, by using the verb charge, we publicly say the company has done something wrong or unpleasant. Nouns can also be used as view markers. For example, allegation is an assertion made without proof. Next, to indicate where the first view ends, we can use different parts of speech as contrast markers. For the adverbs yet, but, however, and on the other hand, they can be put at the beginning or in the middle of the sentences. Yet and but can also be used as conjunctions. Moreover, words in contrast can be used too. Finally, to indicate approval or disapproval of the views, we can use nouns or adjectives as assessment markers. For example, misperception is an idea or impression that is not correct. And here are the adjectives we can use to indicate approval or disapproval. For example, flawed means it's not correct. We've learned the 3 types of language use for presenting point of view. Now, let's practice to check out how much we have learned. Please underline the view markers and highlight the opinions. As can be seen in the sentences, view markers like believe, assume, perceive, and allegation are used to introduce the views. Next, please also underline the view markers and highlight the opinions. As can be seen in the sentences, view markers like claims, interpreted, argue, charged, and perception are used to introduce the views. Now, let's move on to the quizzes to check out learning. Please underline the contrast markers and assessment markers, and highlight the view. As we can see in the sentence, the contrast marker, however, and the assessment marker, flawed, are used. Please underline the contrast markers and assessment markers, and highlight the views. Here are the answers. As can be seen in the sentence, the contrast marker yet, on the other hand, are used to indicate where the first view ends, and the assessment markers, misperception, doubt, and validity, are used to show the disapproval of the views. Now, let's quickly review what we have learned. As what we've learned, we can use different parts of speech as the three types of markers to present different points of view on an issue, indicate where the first view ends, or indicate the approval or disapproval of views. So when we write, make sure we use the appropriate markers based on our purposes. Thank you for joining the lesson. The lesson is funded by the Ministry of Education.